Is Messa one of the best nu metal bands to come out of Italy? That's what we're going to talk about today. But first, let me tell you a story about how I discovered this band by chance. Every year around December, I do a series of videos that wrap up all the best albums of the year. I usually do it towards the beginning of the month, and there's usually a space of time between late December and early January where I need to come up with some new ideas because there's not really a lot of new music coming out. So I decided to do a series called Discovering Metal Bands from Other Countries. First country I did was Greece. That one really took off. Second country I did was Italy, and that one also did very well. I did 3 episodes. In each episode, I talked about 10 different bands. In episode number 3, I talked about the band Messa because somebody recommended it to me in the comments. And I remember it was one of the bands that really stood out to me. It was one of the most memorable ones for me, and I was surprised to see that they have a new album out in 2025. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. Let me first give you some background on the band. Messa is an Italian doom metal band known for their unique blend of heavy riffs, atmospheric soundscapes, and diverse musical influences. They formed in 2014 by Marco Zanin, Sara Bianchin, Alberto Piccolo, and Rocco Tolato. The band evolved over time with Giorgio Trombino joining in 2022 to add saxophone and an instrument called the duduk to their sound. Core members currently include Sara, Alberto, Mark, who plays both guitars and bass, and Rocco on drums, and Giorgio Trombino on the saxophone and the duduk. Messa describes the style as Scarlet Doom, which is a blend of doom metal with elements of progressive rock, black metal, punk, dark ambient, jazz, blues, and Middle Eastern music. They're known for incorporating unconventional instruments such as the oud and the duduk, as well as for Sara's haunting and soulful vocals. Over the years, the sound has drawn increasing inspiration from 1980s gothic rock and post-punk bands such as Sisters of Mercy and Killing Joke. The discography includes 4 full-length albums. In 2016, they released Belfry, which introduced their ambient interludes and a touch of jazz, while in 2018, they released Feast for Water. That earned them acclaim for its immersive doom metal atmosphere. I listened to the album Close in 2022 in my previous episode, and that one really expanded their sonic reach because they incorporated these Mediterranean and Middle Eastern influences. They also introduced a wider array of instrumentations and a much more structured, dynamic songwriting approach. Sara's vocals throughout were praised for their emotional intensity, and she was compared to some legends like Grace Slick and even Janis Joplin. The production work was very clear, it had a lot of depth, and this really enhanced the album's layered instrumentation. Messa has performed at major festivals including Hellfest Open Air, Roadburn, and Desert Fest. They delivered powerful atmospheric live shows. In 2024, they had a really great breakthrough. They were signed to Metal Blade Records, which was a real big deal for the band because it helped them reach a wider audience. Now it's 2025, and this band just released the new album, The Spin. This album continues to explore doom metal, but they have more of that post-punk and gothic influences. Basically, the album mixes lots of different genres, and I'm going to be talking about all of that, so let me jump right into the tracks. The album opens with Void Meridian. The album starts with these bass guitar beats that progressively get faster as you listen, and then you can hear some guitar notes that use this clean tone. It's very common with the post-punk music of the 80s, and after that you hear Sara's melodic vocals. They incorporated some distorted guitars during the chorus that went into some heavier guitar riffs. I found it interesting that the song starts off like a post-punk type of song, but then just develops into more of an old-school doom metal song. Then by the time you hear the solo, they speed up the tempo and you hear more of those chugging guitar riffs. So there was this nice transition between the two genres. After this is a song called At the Races. Let me play a clip. This one had more of a post-punk sound. They also incorporated some distorted guitars, playing these almost trippy or psychedelic types of guitar riffs, and this one also had a slightly faster pace. So I found it interesting to hear how they seamlessly blend these different genres. Then around the middle of the song, the drums completely stop and they play these atmospheric guitar riffs with heavy bass notes, and the drums come back slowly and they build up. Sara's vocals come back into the song, so it was a pretty cool transition. After this section, the song picked up the pace and I found it to be a pretty cool song. Before I continue really quick, if you would like to become a member of this channel for 99 cents, you get early access to all my videos. For $2.99, not only do you get early access, you can request album reviews. There's a join button below, link in the video description. Next song is called Fire on the Roof. I thought this was one of the songs that sounded more like an old school doom metal. I remember when I did the episode on the band, I made a comparison to the band Lucifer. I didn't really notice that on the first two songs, but it was more apparent on this one. The song had more of that classic proto-metal sound. I think they held back a little on that Joy Division or Killing Joke type of sound that was more apparent on the first two tracks. If you listen to the first two songs, they might not sound like metal at first, but this song really proves they can get heavy when they need to. Track number 4 is called Immolation. This was an interesting track. It starts out with more of a haunting and dark piano ballad. It really stands out in the album, was much different than the other songs. The song gets a little heavier about halfway through the song. They incorporate these slow and heavy guitar riffs, and that goes along with the guitar solo. I thought it was another song that had more of that proto-metal sound as opposed to the first few songs that were more post-punk. Next song is called The Dress. Let me play a clip of this one. This is the longest song in the album, or one of them, a little over 8 minutes. They bring back a little more of that post-punk influence on this track, but it was evenly blended with the metal sound as well. They incorporated these soft and atmospheric soundscapes during the first section, and then alternated with some pretty trippy guitar riffs. The song has many peaks and valleys, and some of the quieter sections really gave Sarah the opportunity to show off her vocals. Then afterwards, Alberto and Mark were able to play some of the heavy guitar riffs. And before I mentioned, they had a member whose name is Giorgio Trombino, and he makes an appearance during this song. He plays this very jazzy saxophone solo. There's a part of the song where they play these palm-muted guitar riffs, and you could hear a thick bass guitar, and the drums come back into the song with increasing intensity, and it just goes into something that sounds like black metal for a few seconds. Then after that, they go into a guitar solo, which was almost like a Pink Floyd type of guitar solo, so they're really playing around with genres on this one. That song ends, it goes into the next one, which is called Reveal. And you're probably thinking they can't incorporate any more musical genres into the sound, but they prove you wrong. They kick off the song with some bluesy slide guitar, so I'm going to play a little clip of that right now. I thought this sounded like Led Zeppelin, but with some distortion turned up. And it goes full metal when they bring some faster drum beats and this heavy foot stomping rhythm. It was really cool how they did it. I liked the song a lot. It had a faster rhythm, a lot of energy. The main guitar riff was very unique. It was memorable. There was also a pretty cool part of the song. They played a guitar solo, and they used a really fuzzy and distorted sound on the guitar, and I thought it really went well with the overall sound. The last song is called Thicker Blood. This is also the longest song, just under 9 minutes, and the song kicks off with a really creepy horror movie synth. It kind of sounds something like you would hear from one of those Dario Argento movies, and I said it before in other reviews, I think it's something that bands from Italy like to do, to use that creepy synth. I also made comparisons to the band Lucifer before, and I think this song also reminded me of that band, but keep in mind, these are the only 2 songs where I actually made that comparison, so it wasn't like the whole album sounds like that other band. As we get halfway into the song, they play a guitar solo, and they start to incorporate more of those heavier chugging guitars. After this, they play a guitar riff that was similar to a Black Sabbath style guitar riff. And surprisingly, this is my first Black Sabbath reference that I'm actually making. I usually make a lot of Black Sabbath comparisons when I review different types of doom bands, but this is my first time doing it on this album. It's actually the first time I hear that comparison. But the last part of the song had more cleaner sounding guitars. They were bringing back a little bit of that post-punk. The post-punk sound was kind of absent in the last couple songs, so it's good that they're not just like going full post-punk. After that, they hit you another surprise towards the end with some black metal style screams. And that's kind of towards the end of the song. The song is kind of like ends abruptly. So in conclusion, it's the type of band that can mix lots of different genres. They do it in a way where everything seems like it fits together like a puzzle. It doesn't seem forced. They found a way to incorporate different styles that usually don't go together, such as heavy rock, post-punk, black metal, jazz, doom, and they found a way to make it work. For that reason, I think this is one of my favorite albums of the month. I think it's a solid album, start to finish, no weak moments, I didn't get bored at all, and even the longer songs kept me interested throughout the entire album. I'm giving it a high score, 9 out of 10. It's a contender for Album of the Month in April. We'll see what happens, but that's my final score. I'm going to link the Bands from Italy video right here where I talk about this band Messa, from their previous album Close from 2022. I also talk about other bands. Another one, Ponte del Diablo, which is another similar band, another one of my favorites, and hopefully they'll release something soon. I really like that band as well. But in the meantime, thanks for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. See you in the next one.